Recording now. So yeah, good afternoon and good morning, everyone. I'm Alex Clare from Res, in case, but I think I've met most people in this call. And most people in this call have participated in the Hill of Towie Power Prediction Challenge, and a few people said they'd present today. So I just first want to say thanks everyone for presenting. I'm really pleased with how this went, and thanks Sarah and and everyone else that We Do Wind. I've participated in a couple of We Do Wind things in the past and found them to be very valuable learning and networking opportunities. So thanks, Sarah, for promoting this and giving me advice on the data and how to run this and things like that. But I think most of this meeting I'd just like to be for people to present their work and have Q&A. The winner of the competition was Connor. So I see, Connor, you've joined us. So if you'd like to go first, Connor, you can have the floor if you'd like.
Yeah, I will share screen.
I'm going to give you a clappy hands, though, for winning the competition. Well done. Very impressive.
Thank you. So can you all see the slide?
Yes.
There, not the prep, because I think last for the interim, I was sharing my presenter view. So that's really, so yeah. So I'm Conor Malone. I got the first place entry in this. This is the same solution I presented. It's the same paper that I presented at the interim call in September. So I'll keep it brief on what went into the model because I think all of you are already at that call. So yeah, I finished first on private data. I was third on the public data set. So just to introduce the competition, the way it works is that the models are assessed on 30% of the data until the time is up, after which each participant's top 3 entries are assessed against the rest of the data set. So you can see here I was in third, and there was about a 0.8 jump for me. So I was 0.4 behind Amadresa's paper, and I went to 0.4 ahead of him. So I suppose I need to address the elephant in the room, which is why did I go from third to first? So there's a concept in machine learning of generalization. So you want the model to be able to predict on data it hasn't seen. It's trained on a limited subset of the data, but you want it to be able to predict on tomorrow's data if you have to. So for some reason, my paper generalized better than the other 2 who had initially been ahead of me. So it's possible that it was a quirk of the data that was kept out. So if we go back, you'll notice that there was about a 10% difference for everyone on the public and private leaderboard. So it went from about 4.5 to 4.9. So it's possible that there was some quirk of the data that maybe it was, I know Alex did a good job of selecting it, but it's possible that maybe it was one year that was particularly windy or cold, or there might have been an issue there. Also, in terms of generalization, the model I used, which I'll talk about, was supposed designed to generalize better. It uses an ensemble of different methods to find the best one. And also, I trained it for a very long time. So I trained for 12 hours on GPU. So as I said, the top 3 entries for each person were selected. I looked back through my entries, and I had an entry that used less features, but which trained for 24 hours, and it performed 1% better. But so it's possible that just training for longer and longer would have generalized the model even better. Then you all know me. I worked previously with drone data with SkySpecs and very little SCADA, and it's only my second Kaggle competition. And then I'll just talk about the features, which I had mentioned before. So I copied a bit from papers that worked both in this competition and in the previous Kelmarsh competition, just to see what worked. So I used this trigonometric methods from Demetrios. So I sine and cosine of yaw, nacelle position, wind speed, and turbulence, and then day date features. So what time of day is it? What time of year is it? Also, it was suggested on the interim call to look at using ice as maybe a key factor. So I did that. After that, I looked at various factors that might influence the amount of ice on the blades, and nothing came of it. Then lag variables. So looking back 30 to 60 minutes, is there looking at actual power and actual wind speed for just the turbines around turbine one. So this is turbine one that we're trying to predict. So looking at the turbines around it, the wind speed seems to have an influence. And then, so this is my last slide. So this is the code that runs the actual machine learning. So it's AutoGluon ML is an Amazon package for machine learning. It uses a range of different methods from neural networks to tree boosting. You just put the data in, tell it what it's predicting, how it's predicting it, and what it's evaluating it on, and then tell it how long to run on, and it will use up all that time and come up with the best model. So that's all from me. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, I've got my hand raised. I don't know if can you see raised hands, Connor, or not sure what Teams client you're using.
Do you want to ask a question?
Yes, please. I think I've answered it though. So I was going to ask what daylight hours and his peak wind is, but I think I found it. I'll just share screen.
Oh, sure.
Looks like this is your guy. This is an older notebook he posted, which thank you very much for posting. But is this is these are just features you came up with? That's neat. Did you kind of make these up, or was that from Dimitrios's work? Just out of curiosity, I hadn't seen this before.
I think someone on the Kelmarsh competition had done something similar. I don't think it was exactly that, but it was a similar idea. So I tried a few different combinations of, is it daylight? Is it windy season?
Okay.
And those are the ones I settled on.
So did you ever do a feature importance analysis out of curiosity?
I
did.
I think it might be at the bottom of that notebook. All of the most important features, all the most important features were already in the data set. So it was all like, is actual wind for turbine 2, actual wind for turbine 3. So like, I think maybe one, maybe not even one of the top 20 features were already in the data.
Thank you. Who's else got their hand raised?
Drew, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I'll go next. Thanks for that, Connor. I thought it was really well done and really well explained, and congratulations as well. Well done. Yeah, I had a question. So I don't think they're on the call, but Ravi put in a submission pretty late in the day and did very well. He used a very standard kind of Kaggle approach of AutoGluon, Flamel, and a bunch of other kind of AutoML options alongside a variety of like private models that are built, and then building the ensemble of all of those together. Something I couldn't see if you tried or not was that kind of ensemble approach. And if not, is it something you would have considered?
Afterwards, yes, because as I said, he took a very Kaggle approach and he did quite well. I suppose I think I can't remember the name of the guy. He was formerly with Res, but he introduced the using AutoGluon ML, and that performed so well that I sort of, once I had it, I stuck with it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I would recommend trying the ensembles. They give Kaggle competitions, but I think the flip side is that you lose a little bit of the explainability and kind of clearness of what your model is trying to achieve. If it's, an ensemble of 50 things shoved together, each of which are themselves a relatively complicated structure. Yeah, you lose some of the simplicity. But yeah, just in general, well done again.
Thank you. David, do you have a question?
Yeah, just a couple. I wondered if you'd calculated your training score. I'd just be interested to see comparison, because I don't know, when I didn't have too much time to work on it, but I found overfitting was, a pretty big problem. And I think, like you pointed out in your slides, like the fact that everyone's scores jumped by like 5, going from private to public is a good telltale sign that we're all overfitting somewhat. So I just wondered if you'd run your model on the training set, and we could just compare the test and train scores to get a feel for that.
No, I didn't do that. I was just sort of getting models out and then using them on Kaggle straight away.
Yeah. And then the other question on the lagged features, you just go back to that slide a sec.
Can you still see my screen? Where am I gone?
I can't. I think maybe Alex took it over. Yeah, that's it.
No,
Oh yeah, my bad. Yep.
Yeah.
So are you saying you found that the fourth and fifth lags, are you saying they're the most important? So like 40 minutes and 50 minutes? Or what are we looking at here exactly?
This is saying yes, 4, 5, 6 are the most important, but I got better results, including 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, basically everything, the lags above the line are supposed to be the most important. So above 0.
I did the same thing using autocorrelation and partial autocorrelation, and I found that the 10-minute lag, i.e. the closest one, was the most important. So I was just curious, like, what the difference was there.
Are you doing just 10 minutes for every turbine? Or just a particular subset?
Yeah, just generally across the board, I think.
I don't know. Sorry, Drew, do you have another question?
Yeah, sorry, it might be me next. Yeah, that's reminded me of another question, actually. Connor, this might be to you, or it might be to some of the others in the call that are also more familiar with wind turbines and the actual physical assets here. Why do we think that the lagged variables were helpful here? Like physically, what is the reason that feature is a good signal for making the prediction?
I guess I could speculate if nobody else wants to, but I think if I don't know if anybody's shown in this. I could probably get a plot really quick of just like the time series, the 10-minute time series data. If you sort of look at turbines that are even just next to each other, wind speeds and powers are pretty chaotic looking. Like they're up and down quite a lot. Even with 10-minute averaging, the wind is just a very chaotic thing. So I guess my speculation is it might be that one, just looking at the row, the 10-minute row that you're on, might not, you might not give you the as accurate as possible a picture of what the weather's doing as you'd hope. Even in, that's just speculating. I can try to pull up a plot to sort of illustrate that. What we think actually drives the weather at the ground is kind of the is wind like very high aloft, like a kilometer or so aloft. I don't know if there are any meteorologists on the call. I think that's called the what is it called? Geostrophic wind, I think is the term I'm looking for, which is a bit more stable. But then the wind that we feel down here on the ground, especially at somewhere like Hill of Towie, which is quite hilly and forested, and there are wind turbines there that are messing with the wind, can be extremely chaotic, even over fairly long time scales. But yeah, I guess I'm just speculating.
Flashlight, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just have one question. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to understand that this model has been based over a few variables like actual power and actual wind speed that has been trained over the past historical data. But in order to forecast or forecast for 3 days or coming days, like do we take the reference from the historical model that is trained only, or do we take a actual wind speed forecast from a satellite data and then accordingly we get the actual power that is trained on the model, or we just solely focus on the past trained model and then based over that only we go further?
I'm not really sure what you're getting at.
Like,
So if I took today's wind at Hill Towie, I would use today's actual power for turbines 2, 3, 4 to predict the variables today.
okay.
So you use the weights. The weights would be the same as trained on the past data, but you're using today's variables to actually predict it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I don't think there's any more questions.
Thanks, Connor, for preparing slides for this, and thanks for posting your code. And yeah, well done again. Here's some more clappy hands. Would anyone else like to share some work? Ahmad, Ahmad, you sent me some slides before. Do you have those? Are you able to share screen?
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yep.
Okay, hi everyone. This is Ahmad Chokhashian from Dr. Dean's lab at Georgia Tech. I want to first congrats Connor. It was such an impressive win, and also I want to thank my colleagues in the lab. Basically, this slides only a small portion is my idea. Most of them are coming from the team. Before delving to the challenge, I just want to discuss an attempt we had to find a baseline, find kind of the the error improvement we can have. Last time in last meeting, I talked to Mr. Clark, and he explained that kind of we don't have X here for 2020 because the uplift might affect that, and we don't want to get the after of uplift prediction on the turbine. We understand that, but basically the issue is that in many classical wind power curve models, we assume that we only have one turbine. We have the historical data from, for example, here in 2016 to 2018, and in the future we have the X. We want to know. We want the model to predict Y. So that was the basic different from many classical power curve models. We have, I think our lab published many papers on that. First, we wanted to compare with them. We see how our models would work on this set of data set in case we had that X. To get an estimation, we used the training validation set. So we trained in 2016 to 18 and validated in 2019. It turns out our model is a fast Gaussian process, which in previous competitions stand neck to neck to leading XGBoost or good neural network, very carefully tuned neural network. It was neck to neck to them, sometimes even better. It achieves MAE of 33.5. So if you think of the final MAE of the current setup, it's like 48.5 something is at least our team's error. So there is a huge, I would not say huge considering the rated power is 2300, but there is some gap that we want to improve on. We don't know if what we are achieving is now as 48 is the best we could do, or there is some more ideas that will lead into some improvement, probably not better than this one with 33.5. And I understand this 33.5 is on 2019. If we get an approximation on 2020, even though I don't have the X on that to actually build the model and test it, but I have some feeling that it's always plus minus a plus two, I would say. So whatever model I submitted to the challenge, if I get calculate the MAE on 2019, it was like 2 units smaller than what when I submit on the Kaggle and get the MAE on 2020. So here I would say my GP would achieve 35 something. So this is the baseline we first find. We were very motivated to achieve something close to this, but that really did not happen by the end of the challenge. I go a little bit deeper to my methods, my codes now. I have basically three type of models tuned. One is AutoGloom, the script shared by Johnny, and it's the Amazon's multi-layer stacking package. Only change I did on this one was to increase the runtime to 24 hours. Connor discussed that he used GPU for this. I'm not sure if I did that. I think I forgot to turn on the GPU. My model is only tuned on CPU. Then the second model was the AutoML. This was the script shared by David. I just did small changes. I changed the cross-validation from 5 to 10. I saw very minor improvement there. And then the runtime, I realized by increasing up to 15 minutes, is still getting improved and improved. And then what I did was doing sample weights, and I'll explain it in the next slide. It's pretty interesting option. But that one was giving us only marginal improvements. And then feed-forward neural network. It's a paper. It's a previous competition held by Dr. Dingyu with Wind, and this method was one of the winners. Together with another XGBoost, I cited the paper in the footer. This paper written by Dr. Barber and Dr. Ding. So here it was a very simple feed-forward neural network. For this data, I did well-tuned it. I added the layers, more layers. I added batch normalization and drop half layers. And finally, it was kind of neck to neck to other two models. The next was kind of the sample weights. Sample weights are kind of for these automated packages or even neural network. I'm not sure if we can do the same for AutoGloom, but I did it with AutoML. So we can give the sample weight. We can say model focus on which samples in the training process. And we realized two type of sample weights are helping. One is PDF, which means we get the PDF of the data, meaning we know in which area the data is more dense and give more weight to them. And we give this PDF weights to the model, applied both on neural network model and XGBoost AutoML one. And then the second one is KMM. KMM is short form for kernel mean matching. It's basically saying that if there is a shift from training data, which here is 2016 to 2019, to the testing data 2020, it calculates some ways for the training data to make its distribution match the testing. So that's the idea. Unfortunately, the good packages for this KMM is even designed for very small size of data, like 5,000 samples. Here our testing data is around 50,000 samples. So for that purpose, I needed to chunk it down, and then I used an R package called density ratio for getting the KMM weights. And then, as I said, I tuned it. I applied those weights on both XGBoost and neural network model. XGBoost, I mean the AutoML one. And then once I get all these models, it's like around 7 models. One is 1, 2, 3 are AutoML, the one with KMM weights, one with PDF weights, and one with no weights actually. Then 3 versions were from neural network, one again with KMM, PDF, and no weights at all. And finally, we had the AutoGloom version. We kind of assembled all these 7 predictions with some weights. And I started from equal weights for each model. Then kind of by looking at the Kaggle's MAE. I did trial and error tune these weights a little bit. I think this could be one of the weaknesses of my work that I kind of ended up at the second place in the final table. These ways, a better way probably was to take some unseen data and tune them on that instead of really overfitting to the test MAE. So that's all. I have a brief discussion on the takeaways. So as I said, AutoML we're using it for not searching manually for the optimal parameters of XGBoost. Or AutoGloom does the same thing, but also provides the stacking, but usually needs higher runtime. Uh, good thing about our work is that our neural network is as good as AutoGloom and AutoML. So we are tuning a neural network to be neck to neck with those two leading XGBoosts. And then we discussed the variants of sample weight variants like the PDF and KMM sample weights are giving us a small marginal improvement over divergence without sample weights. And those also help us to achieve superior accuracy. And finally, a significant gain was when we did ensemble of all these 7 models. But open question is like my error on both tables on the whole 2020 was 48.4. It's around 2.1 percentage of the nominal rated power. And then the lower bound I calculated with assuming that we have X is around 33.5. Still, there is like 0.5 percentage difference from having X and not having X for turbine one. The open question is that is there any method, is there any trick? For example, if we can improve the estimated wind speed for turbine one or etc., could we improve this 0.5 margin or even go further beyond that? That's all. Thank you. If there is any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I got a initial question. So the test inputs X, that would be, for example, the SCADA channels of T1 except for power. Is that what you mean by the capital X there?
So I mean the Exxon 2020. So the one I have here in red. If we had that, which we don't because uplift has affected that, if we had the X, we could get to 33 something. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we like in a real situation where, say, you did some upgrade to T1 and the goal is to measure power, then the worry is always that the upgrade also changed the nature of T1's wind speed measurement or things like that, or it changed its torque speed control, or it changed its pitch control or whatever. So yeah, that's the reason why we like choose not to make that data available. But yeah, it's an open question as to like whether you could somehow bias correct that data.
We actually did
it's valuable.
Calibration efforts on that, but we didn't go anywhere. We didn't achieve a more accurate speed. We actually tried estimating both the speed and temperature of wind turbine one on 2020 with same AutoML packages, and then tried to calibrate it by doing the same thing for turbine 2, 3, and 4 that we have the data for and are the nearby turbines. Unfortunately, that effort is, we probably will do more work on that, but so far it really did not make an improvement.
But yeah, that's a pretty interesting idea. Yeah, if you could like sort of come up with some straightforward deterministic calibration, like a y equals mx plus c that makes the wind speed correct. That yeah, that's an interesting idea rather than just like throwing the data away.
Yeah.
I guess I had another question. Did you have a recent? I'm just looking at your notebook on Kaggle. Do you have a recent notebook or
Yeah, I have not
is?
shared because as you can see, it's like 7 different models. I will need to summarize them a little bit, clean them a little bit and share, but I believe we will share that soon, maybe in upcoming weeks. And sometimes I will provide a new simplified notebook in the K.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I guess like one thing maybe to ask another question I'd like to see an example of because I haven't tried this myself is sample weights like you described. I think that's a really interesting idea because
Yeah.
well where my head is going is that the the weather in your prediction year, this is 2020, might be quite different weather to the years before. Like in 2020, you might have had a heat wave or a lot of snowy weather or something that's like really different to the years before, and that's always a problem with this sort of work is I think another term for it is trying to do predictions outside your training distribution, which happens
Yeah,
a lot in wind energy. Does sample weights help with that somehow, or is it a
yeah,
different purpose?
yeah, that's pretty good question. So, for example, on AutoML version, as I remember, without sample weight KMM, which is for that distribution shift, our error was 47.4 something. And by that sample weight, I think it was 47. So it's like zero point 0.4 improvement. It might not look that much on this data set, but naturally, when we used it in other data sets, we saw more significant improvement. Still, it's something, so we applied it to achieve that final good error, but it's not that large.
Thanks very much, Ahmed. Any other questions for Ahmed? Does anyone else have any work they'd like to share? I know we had a lot of stuff shared at the last call as well, but okay, if not, I can I did a little bit of work after the submission deadline, so I can quickly show that, and I suppose just show the late submission feature of Kaggle. So you can, yeah, you can if you go to the Kaggle, there's this late submission button, which is nice. So if you want to try other stuff, so like I put one submission in this was something I did 7 months ago. And then about nine days ago, I tried some other stuff, and this is quite nice. You can do late submissions, and it shows you both your private and public score, so you can figure out where you would have been on each leaderboard with different approaches. So that's one thing I just wanted to let people know, so you can kind of keep using this Kaggle thing as a resource to test new ideas. I'll share really quickly what I tried. So, like I said, I made one submission in this competition, and that was using using a tool called Windup, which I can put a link. Oh, here she is. Yeah, this is like an example repo. This is actually where the code specifically lives. Open open source analysis. Oh yeah, it's in scripts. That's right. We do in challenge, by the way. Like this is where we generated the data pack for this competition as well. So this is all an open repo, but I can put this in the chat. So basically, I'm trying to, like similar to Charlie Plumley's Kaggle, where I used windup. Windup consists of no machine learning whatsoever. It's just deterministic functions. So an example of something it does is it considers the turbine lat longs, which was not included in the Kaggle dataset, but you can download from Zenodo. So we know that T1 has T3 to the north of it and T to the south of it, for example. So windup considers the lat longs of the turbines, and so it orients their data in space. It knows which turbine is in front of or behind which other turbine. So it can work out waking relationships and organize the data by waking scenarios and things like that. So windup does all that with like just deterministic math and can spit out a power prediction, and that didn't get such a good MAE. I mean, it's okay, but it's definitely not competitive with the best solutions in this competition. So 9 days ago, I just was looking at code that people have kindly posted, and I just like did this block of code, which is just using auto gluon to take the work that windup had done and just basically just run auto gluon on it again with a tabular predictor, which I guess is what most people used. So sorry, I didn't finish this comment, but that takes us from an MAE of 61 to I think it was in the high 40s. Yeah, the best one. This gave auto gluon a generous 3 hours of training, got a private score of 49, which I think would have been like top 3 position, something like that. It would have been kind of competitive with the better solutions. So that's where I got to. So I think kind of the goal is to be able to predict power really well without, I guess, with engineered variables that you understand, like that are completely transparent and interpretable. But yeah, it's very impressive how then after you've done that feature engineering, you can use a package like AutoGluon to impressively increase the accuracy of predictions. So yeah, that's as far as I got. I think this is kind of inspired by David Bisogna. You're on the call. You did. I think you did kind of a similar thing. You did as much sort of physical engineering as you could, but then went to ML models.
Well, not even really. I just tried to engineer the wind speed measurement first.
Yep.
Step 1. And you use windup, I just used another ML model to generate the wind speeds and then threw that into a second stage to predict the power. But yeah, like we said, like I tried a few other physical things like blade icing, and I don't know, I found that had a small effect. A few other things like that, but never really got going with it.
So yeah, so the late submission thing is there. So if anybody wants to like try other stuff, you can still get feedback from the Kaggle platform. It can very conveniently tell you how good a submission file is.
Alex, maybe I can ask a couple of questions or say a few things from my point of view, if everyone.
Yeah, sounds good. I think we're wrapped up. I think the only other thing I was going to ask for was feedback, but just feedback on the exercise. Perhaps you were going to do that as well, Sarah.
Yeah, so maybe I can just quickly explain. So if you don't actually know who I am, I think most of you do, but I haven't been to all the Hill of Towie calls. So I've built this whole We Do Wind idea, and probably you've seen on the platform that the idea is to have a central platform where we run challenges, but we also do other stuff. So we have some working groups like developing ontologies, or we have some user groups, some groups like doing data engineering and stuff. And the idea is that if we have like this central location where people are communicating and like documenting everything they're doing, that we build on existing knowledge instead of like reinventing stuff, right? So I think some of you mentioned you use the results of previous challenges, and if we sort of nicely document running challenges, then we can build on them. And so we're currently in We Do Wind, we're trying to work out what the best like data science platform might be to run challenges. So this one was run on Kaggle. You'll see that I put in the chat 2 other ones. So there's one that's running at the moment with Charlie Plumley in his space, which is using Renku. And Renku is like a data science platform. It's not the same as Kaggle. It's kind of similar, but it actually allows you to run code. So it provides you like a platform where you can do similar things to Kaggle. So you can have your code and you can share things. We can create like a leaderboard. But then the idea is that you can actually then run code, and the general aim is to make code more interoperable, so that some of these discussions we were having just now about Ensemble or improving from other people's models or taking ideas from different models, the idea would be that that would be even easier in Renku, because you basically have an environment where these things are already running, and it's supposed to like promote this collaborative coding. So we're kind of in a period where we're testing Kaggle and Renku. And so that's just one thing. Like if you want to take part in a challenge where you want to feel like testing this Renku, then please do participate in either of those challenges. And then the other thing is just regarding the summary of this challenge. So we like to be able to show the results of the challenges in a way so people can see what we've done, right? We'd like to also like show what hard work you've been doing. And so we want to have some nice summaries of the results. So I put some links in the chat. So one of them I put quite a few links in the chat, sorry, but one of them I put in was I'll just share my screen as well. Like I've created just this very simple post on the We Do Win platform called Summary of Results. And the idea is that if everyone who presented today and in the previous presentations, if you could just really quickly just like literally write in the chat, like put a link like to a PDF. So you just put it in a Google folder or whatever shared folder, and then just put the link in there. And if I can then download them, and then I can actually then make a document which is summarizing the results, the first step. And then at least we have like a nice summary that other people can refer to. Actually, if you can put your link to your submission, maybe I should write that as well. If you can link that to your submission code, if you do have some code on Kaggle, that would be even better, because then in the summary I could link it. Otherwise, I can do it manually if I see your name. And then the second thing is, sorry, not that. The second thing is what I put in the chat is a participant survey. So on We Do Win, for every challenge, we like have the same survey so that we can then easily compare like scores. And so we've got the survey here. So if you actually participated, it'd be really, really, really useful and nice if you could spend a couple of minutes just clicking some of those on those questions so that we can improve what we're doing. And then Alex, we can share that as well, the results of that later. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is that in other challenges, sometimes we've written papers or submitted like sometimes we've submitted conference papers, sometimes we've written journal papers, sometimes we've just had posters. So I wondered if you put your presentation on here, please also write in the comments if you're interested in contributing to a collaborative paper. And I would be happy to help organize some sort of paper where we compare the results, we show how we work together in these webinars and how we improve them or something, so we can actually properly like make people aware of what we've done. Does anyone have any comments or questions about that before I move to a quick Mentimeter survey? Would the people who contributed generally be happy to do this? Like, does anyone have any reasons or thoughts about like not sharing what we've done? Generally happy?
I think it's good sharing.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea. Um, and then, so I put a Mentimeter link in. I wanted to do a quick show of hands on Mentimeter, just a couple of small questions. I want to then compare it actually to what people said on a launch webinar. And so the question was, I've just literally changed this slide just now from what it was. So in the launch, we asked, how would you like to benefit? And now I'm asking, how did you most benefit? Winning a prize is probably not quite relevant. Winning first place recognition. So if you feel like filling that out right now, even if you didn't take part, even if you were just watching, then maybe you learned something as well. So you could fill it out as well if you wanted. I see that 4 people have clicked on the link so far. If anyone else wanted to take part, it would be. The links in the chat is the last thing I put in the chat.
Yes, right.
So learning from others is always a winner. Or so far. Still got 3 people still doing it. Learning from others, meeting people, sharing ideas, meeting people from Res. Winning a prize is the last one. It's probably because only one person won the first prize, and that he probably clicked it, but no one else did. So that's 11 out of 11. So we have learning from others is a clear winner. And what I wanted to do now is show you what, obviously it might not have been the same people, but what the results look like before. So this is what when we asked, what would you like? What would you like? And I'm interested in. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So learning from others was number 1, and winning a prize was the last one. I'll put on the We Do Win platform, I'll put a direct comparison of those 2 pictures as well. So it's a bit difficult to do, but sharing ideas seems to have gone up quite a lot. It was on position 7 before, and now it's on position 2. So that's nice. And then the next question is, my question is that if you actually want to continue this challenge, so it's not completely out of the question to say, like some of these open questions you talked about, I don't know, maybe it would be possible to get your scores better and reopen it and continue working on it. The question that comes after now, the next question is, you would like to participate in another challenge. That's a different thing. So I'd just be quite interested to hear how come nobody's answered this question? Is it because I can't? Oh, nobody's responded yet. Yeah, if you would actually like to continue working on this topic, if you would, maybe Alex, we could think about like keeping these sessions going. I mean, maybe you don't want to, Alex, but maybe if 4 people want to continue,
Yeah. Well,
maybe
it's definitely doable because I think T1 is probably one of the easier turbines. So that's one thing. Like the turbines inside the wind farm, which are fully surrounded by other turbines, are probably more difficult. Like that's one thing you could do. Or yeah, there are other things you could focus on besides power as well. But power prediction is the one that comes up for me in my job most of the time. So
yeah, I mean, the main thing,
Alex,
if you're going to continue running it, it has to be mainly useful for you, right? But obviously, people have to be interested in participating. If they don't, then there's no point in doing it. So I pick up seems to be some interest. What we can do also is like when we disseminate the results, we can then ask people if they want to like invite to another webinar and see if anybody turns up. Like, but yeah, maybe Alex, you and me can talk about that separately in the new year.
Yeah. Well, I guess part of the thing I was hoping to achieve is just like getting some visibility of this data set. So the data behind this challenge is on Zenodo. There's actually quite a lot of data. There's like 800 SCADA channels, and there's like 8 years of data for 21 turbines. So we only used a tiny fraction of it in this challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, just glad that now people know that it exists. That maybe it can be used in other research and things.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay, and then we have some people who've answered probably to take part in future we do win challenges. So that's also nice. Mia, do you want to ask?
Yes. I have a question about the data set about this compilation. Can I ask the question now?
Please do, yeah.
Thank you. I'm a PhD student working on wind turbine control. As Alex mentioned before, I use the WindUp, the open source weight. I've already used it and it's quite good. I have one question about WindUp. I noticed there's a pitch tune-up project in WindUp, and I can understand we can calculate an optimal pitch angle for below rated wind speeds, but it seems that it doesn't work. This value doesn't work at Hill of Towie, and we need to retune this value. And what is the main reason behind this?
Oh yeah, great question. Yeah, so I guess if you want to send me an email, we could definitely, I'd be happy to have a conversation offline about it. TuneUp is like a commercial product from Res where we figure out if a wind turbine needs to be changed to make more power. And so yeah, that is something we did at Hill of Towie later. We did it in 2024. So this Kaggle challenge didn't intersect with TuneUp, but yeah, I'd be happy to explain the project to you. Yeah, I'd be happy to have a call. I guess you have my email address thanks to this meeting. So yeah, happy to connect and discuss more offline.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Does it, Alex? Does it have your static yaw misalignment in it?
So that's another thing that my company looks at. I would say we think that these wind turbines are pretty well yaw aligned, but you know some wind turbines aren't. But yeah, this one happens to look good to me at least.
No, sorry, that wasn't the question I meant. I meant does the code, does the tool have a module in it to estimate the yaw static yaw misalignment? Sorry.
Oh, I see. It's not in the open source code. We have internal codes that do that, but yeah, I guess that's very relevant to the challenge you put in the chat. Sarah actually sent that challenge to my colleagues in Res because
yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, sorry, that's still in the proprietary zone. But yeah, WindUp is like mainly focused on measurement of how much more power a turbine makes after you fix it. So you can use it in the context of fixing static yaw misalignment, but it doesn't necessarily do what you're after.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe in time we can open source that part as well, I think.
You can, by the way, you can take part in a challenge without providing the code. You know, just as information. Like, if for example in that challenge that we were just talking about, you can just submit the results without putting any, like you can have it. There's a folder and you can shove your results in and not put the code in, and then just see where it lands in the comparison. That is also something that we think companies might be interested in, just to get like a benchmarking. Rather, I mean, we don't want to force you to share. So just that you know, like it is perfectly acceptable to do it that way rather than like share it. We don't want to force everybody to share everything all the time.
Yeah, you're definitely right. What's the deadline? It looks final results January 31st. Okay, so there's still time. Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, we have a webinar next Wednesday, and I was actually going to suggest or ask in that meeting if we want to maybe extend the deadline a bit. So don't take that with too much. Don't take that deadline too seriously. I think Charlie's gone now, so we can talk about it separately. Anyway, sorry, that was all I wanted to say, really. I don't know whether, Alex, you wanted to sort of say a final thing. We've kind of run out of time now, so.
No, yeah, conscious of time, so really appreciate everyone's participation. Yeah, if you have any more feedback, you know where I am. And thank you again, Sarah. Really appreciate working with you on this. So yeah, have a good rest of the day, everyone. And well done again, Connor.
Yeah,
one more clappy hands. Clappy hands for everyone.
Please don't forget.
Clappy hands for Alex for putting this on, please. Really good competition.
All right, thanks. Bye, everyone. Feel free to read.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.